Hey there, welcome to this exciting masterclass. I'm going to show you how you can make 2019 your best year yet. My name's Stuart Elliott and I'm going to be your host for this exciting class. Now, before we get started, I'd just like you to take a look at the picture on the left-hand side because I woke up one morning and I just looked out of my kitchen window and I saw this beautiful sunrise. And I thought, what a wonderful way to start the day. And what a wonderful way to start the webinar. You know, you can bathe in this welcoming sunrise as you start stepping into the next chapter of your life, the next chapter of successes in your life. And what we're going to cover today is going to be crucial to these successes. So the first thing is goal setting, understanding that's going to power you to success. You know, most goal setting protocols you see, like SMART goals, etc., they don't talk about energy. They don't talk about having a goal that's going to fire you. They don't talk about anything like that. They just say the SMART goal, it's got to be realistic, it's got to be measurable, and but you know, it's no energy. So how are you going to keep fired up to get it? Excuse me. So, you know, a goal must excite you. It must make you, "Ooh, I want it, I want it, I want it now." If it doesn't, it's quite likely that bye-bye, it's not going to happen. So that's the first part. The second part is a continuation. Because you have the energy at the beginning, you need to keep that energy all the way through as you make progress towards your goals. And this is what we're going to talk about, goal fuel, that's going to help you have success at achieving your goals. And then part 3 is very, very important. And many people miss this. I don't understand why. We just assume something or we just expect something to happen. But we need to build. We have to really build a reliable support network who's on our side. You know, only for us. And if you don't have support, it's quite likely you're going to get derailed because things will happen, you know, on the way to success. So we need people to be on our side, rooting for us. And then because you're going to stay on to the end, I've got this wonderful free gift. And it's going to help you with your goal setting success, your goal achieving success. So you can stay on the end, you know, to get this free gift, can't you? Of course you can. Now, before we get started, let's just look at a little bit of housekeeping because, as I say, this is the next chapter of your life. So it's important that you focus. It's important that you don't get distracted, which means no mobile phones, no Facebook, no social media, no email. Turn them all off. It's only going to be for half an hour, 45 minutes. Turn them off so you can focus solely on this webinar. And obviously, make sure that you are in a place where you won't get disturbed. And you should have had a link to download the PDF document, which is going to workbook, which is going to help you with it. If you haven't, there's a link on the right-hand side. But even if you've got that, have a pen and paper ready. Write down because you might want to take notes because these things are important. Okay, so that's the housekeeping out of the way. Quick, simple, wasn't it? Now, you might be wondering, who the heck is Stuart? Well, you know, I'm a mindset specialist. I've lived on 3 continents. I was born in the UK, I lived in Africa for 18 years, and now I've lived in the south of China for the last 14 years. Those 3 continents, vastly different cultures, have given me a very, very interesting perspective on life and lots of experiences which I want to, you know, use and the accumulated wisdom I want to use to help you become more successful. And to augment that, I've studied conversational hypnosis, Ericksonian hypnosis, NLP, New Code NLP, classic NLP, and other ways of helping people find out what's holding them back and make the changes necessary. And, you know, life is not always easy. I've been through a horrible divorce and I hated it. I was really, devastated at the time. And if you'd have spoken to me at the time, I would have told you all sorts of nasty things. But you know what? I'm so grateful because that divorce was there to wake me up, to give me a lesson, to make me understand. And I've grown so much from that. So life happens for a reason. And this is why you're here. And this is why I'm here with all the knowledge, the experiences I've got that I can share with you. Okay, so as I say, I live in the south of China, and this is just one of the beautiful parts of the countryside, very close to where I live. I just, half an hour's drive away, and there we are. The mountains, the rivers. It's just such a beautiful area of the world. And I'm blessed because I made that happen. It doesn't just happen. I made it happen because of the decisions I took. And you can do the same. Maybe you don't want to come to the south of China, but wherever your dream is, you can get to. So that's enough about me for now. Let's get to the meat and gravy, to get to the details I promised you. So the first thing you might think about is this little expression, dreams determine destiny. And you've probably heard it before, because without dreams, well, we don't have a destiny, or do we? Because this is really a little bit of a misnomer, because it's not just the dreams which determine your destiny. It's the dreams or the lack of the dreams and the action that you do or don't take, which is going to determine your destiny. Now, it doesn't matter what happens in life. We can't always control the external factors, but we can control how we react to it. And that's a reaction, that's an action that we can take. So have a dream, plan how you're going to achieve that dream, and then you can be successful. You can be so happy in your life. But you have to choose to do that. It's not going to happen if you just sit there. In China, I think there was an expression by Confucius, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but it's a very good one anyway. He said, hungry man standing on mountaintop with his mouth open will take a long time for duck to fly in. He's dreaming. He's hoping. He's doing nothing to make it happen. Now, the realms of possibility, it could happen, but it could be 10 years, it could be 5 years, it could be, however long. So without action, nothing happens. But you're taking action. You're here today. So that's great. Anyway, you are responsible for where you are today. And I want you to understand that this is not a problem. No matter where you are, this is great because what you've done or what you haven't done has made you successful already. And with a slight change, with a slight extra push in a different direction, you can be even more successful. So your responsibility now is to move forward and make yourself even happier. Make yourself even more successful. And that's what you're going to do. So here's the first often overlooked strategy. And that's about setting a strategy which is going to power you towards success. As I mentioned earlier, you need energy. You need excitement in your goals. So the first thing is to get really clear on what you want. And take a piece of paper, write a list. What is it I want? And put a date on it as well. By when, by when, by when. Okay? And dream big. But, don't go crazy and say, okay, I want to be able to fly without a plane, without anything. I want to grow wings and fly. Some things just can't happen. Just like, if I say to myself, okay, I want to be the president of China. It ain't going to happen. You know why? Number one, I'm not Chinese. Number two, I just don't have any clue how to be a president. So we've got to be a little bit more realistic, but we can dream big. And even if you don't know right this second what it is you want from life, put something there. Because it's like if you want to drive from wherever you are to Beijing, without a plan, you'll never get there. But by having that direction, guess what happens? You find all sorts of wonderful things along the way, and you suddenly decide, okay, this is the real goal. This is what I really, really want. So don't let the fact that you're not 100% sure stop you at this moment. Just get something which fires you up. Okay? And, if you don't get fired up, you're not going to go for it. So make sure there's power, there's energy there. Because, without it, you're not going, as I say. I keep repeating this, and it's very important. It's just like a New Year's resolution. I want to stop smoking. And I live in the UK, so if I smoke in the pub, I'm not allowed to. I have to go outside and stand in the doorway. And you see it if you go to the UK. You see the guys huddling outside, in the cold with t-shirts on, having a fag with their friends and having a chat there. So if you don't get energy about that, it's not going to happen. There's a whole lot of stuff going on there. So a good question to ask yourself is there any feeling associated with this goal? Just think, you're huddling outside the pub with your friends. Is it exciting to not be able to be with your friends if you stop smoking? I don't know. You have to ask yourself, what feeling? And once you've found a feeling, where is that in your body? Is it in your toe? Is it in your hands? Is it in your chest, your stomach, your head? Or is it all over your body? Where is it? Identify it. Once you've identified that feeling, ask yourself, is there anything else about that feeling? And see what comes. Okay? Now, let's say I've set a goal, and my goal is a new car. I've decided that this car I want is going to be a Porsche SUV because it's a big car with lots of space inside. I've got a young family, I've got 2 children, and guess what? I need the space, I've got a wife, and I like the countryside. You've seen the picture. I want to go out and I want to take the family there and I want them to enjoy it. So I look inside, I say, where's the feeling? What feelings, And I find excitement, but I also find there's a bit of trepidation and there's some fear there. So I dig deeper and I think to myself, what's causing the trepidation? What's causing the fear? And it comes down to the fact that a Porsche is expensive. It's not only expensive to buy, especially in China because it's an imported vehicle, it's also expensive to run. It's also expensive to maintain and insure. And I'm going to have to work very hard to make so much money to be able to buy this Porsche in a short space of time. And that working hard is a problem because it's going to take time away from my family, time away from my children. And that's really not what I want. I want to be able to give more time to my children. So I start thinking more about this goal of getting a Porsche SUV. And you know what? When I analyze it, I say to myself, hey, a Ford SUV is safe. It's big enough. It's got the space. It's cheaper to insure. It's cheaper to run. It's cheaper to buy, a lot cheaper to buy. And guess what? It gives me a lot more time with my family. It gives me what I want. I can take them out into the countryside. I can spend time with them. So looking at the new feelings, I just feel myself alive. I've got tingling all over my body because this is now fulfilling my dream properly. My chest swells with pride. I just feel so good. I can picture myself now walking out, getting into the car, strapping my children into the safety seats, my wife in the front with me, and off we go into the countryside, enjoying the mountains, the rivers, the beautiful scenery that we've got here. So this is going to be a goal that I can achieve because it really makes me excited. I can see it. I can feel it. I can almost taste it. So my body's tingling with excitement because I've got a real goal. Now, there's another thing that you need to bear in mind when you set goals, when you go towards goals, and that's your identity. Because you are going to move towards your goals, and as you do, you'll start to take on a new identity. If we go back to the example I gave you about the guy stopping smoking, his new identity is a non-smoker. Guess what? He can't hang around outside with his friends having a fag anymore because he's not a smoker. So he just stands around in the cold, bored, and maybe even wishing that he could smoke. And the same, no matter what goal you go for, you're going to change because you're going to grow as a person as you go towards that goals. And the fact is, you have to be ready to take on the new identity. Otherwise, you can't get your goals. And this is where some of the later steps we're going to talk about are going to help you to take on this and support you in your new identity. So the question is right now, ask yourself and write it down. Are you ready to step into this new identity of the successful person that you're going to become? And it should be a big yes. Otherwise, really, your goals are not going to be achieved. So, here's another thing to bear in mind. Some people may not feel worthy of being successful. They may have blockages about money, that money is not good, that success is only something happens to other people, not me. I'm unlucky, this or that. And you know, a lot of it comes from unconscious programming. So they may set goals in their conscious part, the front of the mind, but unconsciously they don't think the goal is worthy or success is worthy. And this is something very, very important to take into consideration. But, you mustn't worry about that right now, because the free gift I've got at the end of this webinar is going to help you with that. And, you can stay on towards the end of the webinar just to get that. And, we can see how that can help you. So let's move on to the often overlooked strategy number 2. And this one is so simple, but people forget it, and that's goal fuel. Think about a car, okay? It needs fuel to keep moving. If you don't have fuel, you don't get the power. So goal fuel gives you power to keep moving and achieve your goals. Just think about the car again. You fill the tank, you drive, the tank gets empty, boom, stops. And this is what happens. You set this goal, this wonderful goal, it fills you with excitement, that's filling your tank. And you drive, you move towards your goal. Nothing's replacing the fuel. So eventually you stop, you'll run out of steam. And cars, they need petrol, they need diesel, they need electricity, or they need gas. They need something to keep them fueled. We're the same. We need something to keep us fueled. So what is it that's going to keep us fueled up? Think about that for a second. What is it? What about people? What fuel will power us? Well, energy is the fuel for our success. Energy. The energy that you had at the beginning, you've got to keep it replenished. You've got to have that excitement all the way through your goal achieving strategy. If you don't, it's going to be very difficult. So, how do you keep the energy flowing? That's a good question, isn't it? But it's very simple, really. When you plan your goal strategy, you create success rituals. SMART goals. Measurable. M stands for measurable. That's fine. Measure the goal. Yes, I'm on the way to achieving it. Great. Fantastic. I'm on the way to getting my goal. Does that fill you with energy? No. Because there's no ritual. There's no excitement. There's nothing. And, back in the 70s, mid-70s, Bjorn Borg was a very successful tennis player. You've probably heard of him. Maybe you've even seen him. And he celebrated internally every single point. And if you watched him, he had a deadpan face, but every point he went, he just did a, and that was a real power thing for him. And you can do the same. You can go, every time you acknowledge, every time you do something like that, it's going to give you all the energy you need. And as I say, it could be, or it could be even bigger, like a hell yeah! Just like this lady here. Now, you could even go into, if you're a little bit self-conscious and you've achieved something and you don't want everyone to see you making what they might think a fool of yourself, you could go into the bathroom, close the door, make sure there's no one around, and go, yes, 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 I've done it. Or you can find some other rituals that fill you with that excitement, that power you, which give you energy. But you have to make sure that you plan it. And you don't leave it for every big success. You keep it for every small success. And you can stagger the rituals, slope them. This one's for a big one, that one's for a smaller one. But make sure you plan them, you build them into your strategy. Look what you're going to achieve. You plan maybe 30 days towards your goal, and every day there's got to be some success. If you've started something, that's a success. Yes! Get that energy. It will help you. So make it happen. Don't just say, like a lot of people I speak to, okay, I did that. Where's the energy there? I can guarantee people like that who keep saying only that type of thing, poof, they fall flat, the goals disappear, and they get disappointed. Why? Because there's no fuel to keep them moving. So, building these success rituals. And if it's a big achievement towards your goal, make it big. Take your husband out, take your wife out, go out with your family, buy yourself a new dress or a new suit or something. Celebrate in a big way, because it's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful that you've achieved this. And another one to do is jump for joy. Do a little jig. You know, just like this girl here. And I've got a little daughter, I've told you that before. She's 18 months old. And you know something? She's got this little wooden clock thing, clock face, which we've got the different numbers on shapes, circles, stars, you know, hexagons, etc., etc. And when she puts the number in and she gets to the right place, she stops and she does a little jig. She jumps and she goes, yes, and she claps herself and she's got this big smile on her face. She knows how to celebrate her successes, and then she does the next number, etc., etc., and she keeps doing it. And, you know, it's helping her to get her goals. It's helping her move forward, and it's keeping her happy, and it's keeping that energy flowing. You can do the same, can't you? Of course. And, you know, a little jig, a little dance, it's just a wonderful thing to do. It helps you feel happier and more energized. Because life success is fun, is it not? I mean, being successful is fun. It makes you happy. So just think about that sentence and keep it in your mind all the time. Life success is fun. And, you know, another wonderful success ritual, which is often overlooked by people, is to keep a success diary. What's a success diary? It's a book that you make, which is big and a little bit bulky. And you do this not on your computer. You do this not on your phone or your tablet or whatever. You get a book which is bulky. Big enough to go in your pocket, but bulky enough to feel. And then you write on it, you make it look beautiful, make it look, you know, special, because it is special. It's a record of all your successes. So the very fact that you're here now, you've been on this masterclass webinar from the beginning and you're here now, that is a success. You write it down. Then you do a little, yeah. You record it. Every little success, you fill that diary. Then you start another one, you fill it, and you keep it with you in your pocket, in your handbag, somewhere where you can feel it and bump into it all day. Because then you can feel your success. You can see how successful you are. And if you get a bit despondent about anything, you just open it up and you see page after page after page of my successes. Wow, I'm a successful person. This is what the power of a simple little diary and you writing things down does for you. It gives you energy. So don't admit it. Don't say it's silly. Don't try and do it on a computer. Do it on paper, on a booklet that's going to be there and remind you of your success all the time. Now, this one, as I've mentioned earlier, is very important. It's overlooked, okay? Most people overlook it. You need to build an honest support network which is rooting solely for your success. That's all they're interested in, your success. And, you know, every time I see this photograph, it reminds me of a news report or some article I read or video I saw somewhere a while back now. And it was concerning this girl. She was at a pop concert. And she got, you know, so carried away with the excitement, with everything that's going on. She managed to get up on stage. And then she launched herself off into the crowd, fully expecting them to catch her and support her. but they didn't. And this is the problem. We assume, we expect our friends, our family to support us. Just think about it. Your friends, your best friends, you've been with them for yonks, for ages, from school or whatever. They're going to support you, aren't they? Of course you think so. But you know something? Let's look at these two friends. They've been lifelong friends, Peter and John. From school through to work, they've been hanging out together. They go out most nights together. They talk to each other regularly. They see each other weekends, maybe go see a match, a football match or something like that together. And then one day, Peter comes along and says, "Hey, John," you see, Peter's so excited. "Hey, John, I've just been given this wonderful, wonderful opportunity. This job is going to pay me tons of money, but I've got to move to London." And John just looks at him and says, "London? We live in Manchester. That's hours away. It's a long way from here to there." And he starts coming up with all sorts of reasons why it's a bad idea. London's not safe. There's a lot of knife crime. There's a lot of foreigners. There's a lot of this. There's a lot of that. It's very busy. Houses are very expensive. Everything that's negative he can think of, he's telling John. Sorry, he's telling Peter. And what he's not voicing, but is going through his mind, is, what am I going to do? Peter's leaving. What am I going to do? Who am I going to hang out with? What's going to happen to me? These are the thoughts that are going through his mind. And he's finding reasons why he can't, why Peter shouldn't go. And Peter, he's shocked. Why isn't John supporting me? What the heck's wrong with him? And they have maybe an argument, but their friendship starts to nosedive. Because he's not got the support he assumed. And that's his best friend he's talking to, and he's not got support from him. It's devastating. And when I moved to Africa, I experienced a similar thing. I've been going out with these guys, these friends of mine, for a long time. We went to the pub together. We used to hang out together. We used to go on bike rides together, motorbike rides. And when I said I was going to Africa, they weren't happy for me. And I couldn't understand it. And then when I actually got to Africa and I invited them over, because the exchange rate was so favourable. I mean, £1 would buy about 10 or 15 rands at the time, and that they could live like a king on nothing for a month. None of them came. The friendships had ended. Why? Because I, by moving on, was forcing them to change, to find new lives, new ways of doing things. And they weren't ready for that. I was, but they weren't. So this is the problem with expecting friends to support you. But you might be thinking, okay, well, friends maybe, but I've got family, I've got family. They're always on my side because it's my mother, it's my father, it's my brother, my sister, my family. They're always with me. Well, here's a story, a true story. I was flying from Fuzhou in the east of China near Taiwan to Hong Kong not so long ago. And the young woman I was sitting next to on the plane was a Hong Kong national. And we got to talking, and she wasn't happy. I asked her, where, why she was going, where she'd been and where, what she was doing, etc. She said, "No, I'm just been on a business trip to Fuzhou, and now I'm going home." And I said, "Oh, that's interesting. Well, what's your profession?" And she's a financial accountant or something like that. But she said, "I hate my job. I want to start a soap business, making soap and selling soap. But nobody wants me to do it. My family are against me. My friends are against me. They're telling me I'm stupid. They're telling me it's ridiculous. They're telling me I won't be successful. It's and she says, all I've got to do is go to Taiwan for 6 months, learn about it, and then I can start a business." And she was going on in such a sad, depressed way. And I just said to her, "Hey, What language are you speaking to me in? And it stopped her dead in her tracks. She just looked, what? English, why? I said, I know you're talking English. What's your home language? She said, Cantonese. I said, that's great. What about China? You went to Fuzhou. What were you speaking there? She said, Mandarin. I said, 3 languages. You're fluent in 3 languages. That's fantastic. I mean, I'm not fluent in, I'm fluent in English, but I'm not fluent in Mandarin. I can speak a few words, I can understand some sentences, and I can write a couple of very, very, very simple characters. Cantonese, it's much more difficult for me. But you are fluent in 3 languages. And look at you. You've just been to mainland China on a business trip. Your company trusts you. They've sent you here on this business trip. They paid for everything and then you're going back. They respect you and they understand your skill. That's wonderful. And, you know, we got talking like this for a while. And I said, you know something? Business. You want to start a soap manufacturing business. Business is about people. It's about the product. But it's also about money. It's about finances. And you have that knowledge because this is your profession. Most people who start business have no understanding about money. And that's a big reason why a lot of businesses fail. But you won't because you've got this understanding. And we were talking like this for a while. And as we were talking, her smile was getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I said to her, I says, you know, this is the problem with family and friends. They don't understand. There's a lot of pressure from family and on the family members themselves to make you conform. I had a client, I have a client. And a few years ago, about 6 or 7 years ago now, she wanted to move from her hometown in China to another city. And she was in her early to mid-20s at the time. And, you know, I don't know whether you realize this, but a lot of young girls in China are pushed into marriage because they're expected to be married by 25, 26, 27. Definitely by 30. They're considered over the hill at 30 if they don't get married. But they're also expected to get married very quickly, and quite often the parents will arrange the marriage and then produce children for their, you know, grandchild or something for their parents. And this is something that parents expect. It's what the family expects. And she didn't understand this, that her parents, even though they loved her, they were getting a lot of flack from the rest of the family. What's wrong with you? Can't you control your child, etc., etc.? So we had to work with her to get her to understand her parents' point of view and then start communicating with them and sharing her desires with her parents. And eventually she got her parents on her side, and then they were supporting her against the pressure from the family. And then she moved to this other city, and a few months later her mother came to visit, stayed with her a while, and she said, you know something, I am so proud of you. Just look what you've achieved. And that made her feel so special. Because this is what you can do when you start working with, instead of fighting, the family. And you can do the same if you decide to do the soap business, but you have to understand their point of view first. You have to understand what they're scared of. Because there is a fear that they're going to have to change, they're going to lose something. And they don't like that. So you have to understand that. And when we got off the plane, she had the biggest smile on her face. She was light in her step and everything else. So, family are not necessarily going to support you just because they're family. You've got to work with them and talk with them. And, as I say, family and friends have their own personal agenda hidden. They may not even know it. It's an unconscious thing, just like Peter and John. John is thinking to himself, what the heck am I going to do? Family are saying, I've got plans for you. Maybe from a young age, they expected you to be a scientist, but you want to be a fashion designer or something like that. And they're pushing you away from that, not allowing you to find your dreams because it's their dream that they're trying to realize. So what you can do, what you must do, is take some time to make a careful assessment of all the people you'd like to support you. And think about them. Think about any personal agendas they may have. Don't expect them to. think about it. And if there's anything that comes up, try and see how you can work around that, how you can circumvent it. Some people you may just have to cut out of your dreams. Not your dreams, but your, telling them of your dreams. Because they're going to be negative, they're going to be pushing you down. Other people, maybe you can get on your side, but it's going to take some, effort, a little bit of effort on your side. Another option is to get a professional, just like myself, a coach, who's there only for you, whose only interest is your success. When you work with someone like me, I'm going to go out of my way to help you, to build you, to help you find the resources that you've already got but you don't know about, and make your life as successful as you want to be. But whatever you do, don't just share your goals with anybody, because they can try and fire you down for no reason whatsoever. And, we're nearly at the end of the webinar. And it's almost time to give you your free gift. But let's just go back over what you've already taken away so far. You've discovered how to set and test goals that are meaningful and they fill you with driving energy. Okay? You've also discovered what you need to do to keep your energy, your empowering energy, flowing. And you understand about a solid support network who's there solely for you. No hidden agendas, no nothing, just I want you to succeed. Now, it could be that you might want a little bit more. Maybe you're struggling with your goals. Maybe there's some blockage which you don't know what it is, but you keep trying and you keep not succeeding for whatever reason. It could be that, or it could just be that you need someone to help, support you and help you break down those walls, the walls that are holding you back from being the success that you know you can be, or you'd like to be. Because maybe, as I say, you've tried and tried and you just don't think success is for you. So, if that's the case, you're going to enjoy this because there's no cost involved. All you got to do is go to this URL, https://lifesuccessis.fun/clarity with a big C, capital C. And life success is fun. This is what it's all about. Being successful makes you happy. It's fun. So this is why I chose this URL, and you'll never forget that. Lifesuccessis.fun. And when you do that, I'm going to gift you a 30-minute consultation, because that is a link to my calendar. And you book a slot that suits you, and then we'll get on the phone and we'll work together to help you become more successful. And normally that will cost you, quite a lot. But this is my gift to you to say thank you for coming and sharing this masterclass with me. So I want to help you develop the mindset of a winner. I want to help you become more successful. I want to help you become as successful as you ever can or want to be. Go to that URL. On the right hand side, you'll see there's a link there. Just click that link, or just write this down in your book, and so you'll never forget, and then put it in your browser and book a time and we'll get together and talk. So before we go, we've got a little bit of time for some questions. So if you've got any questions, just put them in the question box and I'll do my best to answer them. But a common question that people ask me when I talk to them is this for me? Does it work for everybody? And the answer is, quite bluntly, no. It's for you if you're prepared to take the action, if you're prepared to make the changes that you have to make to become successful. Then yes, it is for you. And if you're prepared to do those, then it's going to work for you. You are going to become more successful. Sometimes we have to deviate from our original plan a little bit, but that's not a problem because you're building a new life, a new you, a more successful you. And as soon as you get more knowledge and more success, then you can think differently because you have more understanding of what's going on. I mean, there's no wrong decision in life. You can't look back and say, hey, I wish I'd done that differently. I wish this, I wish that. Because at that time you made the decision, you didn't have that knowledge. So hindsight doesn't work in that respect. You get the knowledge and then you're a different person. You're at a different level. Now you can make fresh decisions with that new knowledge and you carry on like that. So if you're prepared for that, yes, it's going to work. If you're not prepared to do it, then, don't try because it's not going to happen. Another question I often get asked is, how long will it take? And, this is, understandable question, but it's like, how long is a piece of string? What are your goals? If your goal is to become a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, well, there's a longer progression to get there than there is to starting up your own business. So it depends on your goals. Now, you don't want to set a goal 10 years hence and then lose track of it because it's so far away. Have that goal, yes, because it's a direction, but make other goals and keep these other goals backwards, work backwards with these other goals. What is it I have to do? What do I have to become? What knowledge do I need, etc., etc. And keep your goals maximum, your real working goals now, maximum of 3 months in advance, 90 days, and plan that back from there, 90 days, 60 days, 30 days, weekly, daily, and then put measurement devices in. Still keep your dream, but understand that you have flexibility. When you finish your first 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, you'll have more knowledge. You'll be a different person. And you may look at that dream and say, hey, well, it's not really what I wanted. It's a great start. It got me moving, but now I found out this new stuff. Then I want this instead. And then you can re-plan your goal because you've got a different person doing it. You're a different person. So flexibility is also very important. Excuse me. And, another question that I've been asked many, many times is, why should I bother? Life will happen. It's up to you how you react to life. So, the only reason you should bother is if you want to take control of your life. You want to stop being the victim. You want to stop feeling down because your life isn't going where you think it should or you want it to. That's why you should do it. If you don't want, you can sit back and watch TV and let whatever happens happen. There's no problem. It'll still happen. Your life will still go on. Will it make you happy? I don't know. Does TV make you really happy at a soul level, or is it just a surface level? Is it a way of hiding things? For me, I don't see TV very often, very rarely. I don't think I've switched the TV on in several months. I can't remember the last time. So life is what you make it. You choose. And remember, again, no wrong decisions. Whatever you choose now is the right decision because it's going to move you on to the next phase of your life. So why should you bother? Because you want more than you've got now. Because you feel that there's something missing from life. There's got to be more to life than what you've got. That feeling, that's why you should bother. And do you need my help? I don't know. Only you can decide. We can get on a call, a free call, as I mentioned earlier, and we can talk and see if you really want my help afterwards. You think I'm a person who's going to help you grow even more, then we can talk and see how that can happen. But whatever happens, it's your thinking that's going to make your life a success. You'll need support, you'll need a plan, and this is what this webinar has been all about, and you can just make decisions from there onwards. So, I don't see any other questions. Hit the button or just type this into your browser book a call with me, and then we can talk about what you can do, what's troubling you. Thank you once again for being here. It's been wonderful talking to you. It's been wonderful sharing with you. I'm looking forward to the call when we can talk more, and I'd love to hear your views and your success stories in the future. So stay in touch with me, and I'd love to see you grow. That just powers me up to see you grow as a person and become more successful. So thank you again, and ciao now.